In the middle of a city that never cared to look down, a 16-year-old boy with nothing but a tattered hoodie and worn-out shoes found something no one else had noticed. A little girl, trembling in an alley, lost and blind. She didn't cry out. She didn't even ask for help. But Malik, a ghost in his own city, saw her. He knelt beside her and offered the only warm meal he had left. Then, with no map, no plan, and no reason other than kindness, he lifted her onto his back and started walking. 10 miles through freezing rain. He didn't know her name. He didn't know her story. And he sure didn't know she was the daughter of a billionaire. The city was alive, but not in the way folks imagine when they think of opportunity. No, this place pulsed with the kind of noise that drowned out the quiet cries of the forgotten. Neon lights flickered over greasy storefronts. Sirens cut through alleys like angry ghosts. Steam rose from the grates, and no one ever stopped walking long enough to notice the kid moving through it all like smoke. Malik, that was his name. Just a boy, 16, skin and bones, stitched together by stubbornness and cold air. His clothes didn't match. His sneakers had given up their soles, and his backpack carried more memories than supplies. In it were napkins folded like they mattered, because to him, they did. A cracked water bottle, a photo of his mom from before life fell apart. Every evening he walked behind a Vietnamese bakery on Jefferson. The owner tossed out unsold bread near closing. Malik knew how to sort the good from the rotten. That's how he stayed alive, one half loaf at a time. But on one rainy night, crouched behind a dumpster, something stopped him. A hiccup, soft and broken, not the city's usual sounds. Behind a stack of wet cardboard boxes was a girl, tiny, curled like a question mark against the bricks. Her dress was filthy, her skin scraped, and her eyes blank, blind. Malik didn't ask what happened. He just crouched beside her. "You hungry?" he asked, quiet like he might scare her away. And when she nodded, something inside him shifted. The girl's name was Ava. She barely whispered it. Her voice was hoarse, the kind that hadn't been used in a while. Malik didn't push, didn't ask how long she'd been there, or where her folks were. He just reached into his bag, pulled out a sandwich he'd been saving since morning, unwrapped it with careful hands and offered it like a treasure. Ava took it, shaking. She didn't devour it like a hungry kid might. She held it in her mouth first, like she wasn't sure it was real. That's what broke Malik, how quiet her hunger was, how she never even asked. After she finished, she started shivering hard. Malik stood. "My spot's not far," he said. "It's dry. Kinda." She didn't answer, but she didn't say no. He helped her up. Her hand slid into his, small and cold, and together they walked. No one stopped them. No one asked. Down alleys, past dumpsters, beneath graffiti-stained fences. The city kept pulsing around them, fast, uncaring. But Malik walked slow, careful, like she mattered. Behind a gas station, tucked between a brick wall and a broken fence, was Malik's shelter. A lean-to made of plywood and tarps, patched with duct tape and prayers. Inside, one blanket, one crate, one dim lantern. "Watch your step," he said, helping Ava sit. She curled up beside the crate, exhausted. Malik wrapped the blanket around her shoulders, took off his own hoodie, and laid it over her legs. His arms chilled instantly, but he didn't care. She was warm now. That was enough. The rain started not long after, soft at first, then steady. Malik sat beside her, knees to his chest, listening to the city. But for the first time in a long time, he wasn't surviving alone. The wind crept in through the cracks in the tarp roof. Water dripped in one corner, but it was quiet inside, peaceful even. Ava was asleep, breathing slow, her fingers still clinging to the corner of the blanket like she was afraid it might vanish. Malik watched her for a long time. Her hair was tangled, her face scratched, but in the flickering lantern light, she looked peaceful. Like maybe she hadn't felt that way in days. Maybe longer. He leaned back against the wall and rubbed his hands together for warmth, then closed his eyes, letting the cold settle into his bones. But the silence didn't last. "Are you still there?" Her voice was soft, fragile. "Yeah," he whispered. "I'm here." A pause. "Do you have a mom?" Malik hesitated. "Used to. Me too, she said. And that's when he felt the world tilt a little. He didn't ask what happened to hers. She didn't ask about his. That was the thing about silence. It could be heavy, but sometimes it could hold you together better than words. You want me to tell you a story? He asked. She nodded. So Malik told her about a girl who could hear colors, who could tell when trees were happy and when dogs were scared just by the way they breathed. Ava turned toward him, her eyes closed, listening like it was the only truth she'd ever needed. What happened to her? She asked. She got lost, Malik said. But someone found her. Someone who didn't have much but stayed anyway. Ava didn't say another word. She drifted off again, and Malik just sat there, staring at the lantern's dying light, wondering what kind of world left a girl like her in an alley and called it normal. Morning came gray and heavy, the sky sagging under the weight of last night's rain. Malik woke first, stiff and aching. Ava was still curled up under the blanket. He hated to wake her, but he knew they couldn't stay. The alley would come alive soon, with engine noise and people who didn't ask questions. They just called the cops. He nudged her shoulder gently. Hey, he whispered, we gotta go. She stirred, blinking up with eyes that didn't focus. Are we still here? Yeah, he said, but we're heading out. As she got up, Malik handed her his hoodie. It was still damp, but she pulled it on without complaint. They stepped out into the alley and started walking. Malik held her hand, helping her avoid broken glass. When she winced, he crouched. Want me to carry you? She paused. Will it hurt your back? He chuckled softly. I'm good. She climbed onto his back. Light. Too light. He adjusted her gently and walked. The streets hadn't changed overnight. Still wet, still cold. But Malik walked with purpose now. At a phone shop, he'd seen her face on the news. Missing girl. Authorities searching. Daughter of a wealthy family. A reward. A city on alert. Ava didn't want to go to the police. She begged him not to. We'll find your real home, he promised. 10 miles, give or take. No bus would take a barefoot teen with a blind girl on his back. So he walked. Through alleys, under freeways, past people who stared but didn't stop. A man muttered, Where's her mother? Malik kept moving. His legs burned. His shoes soaked. He coughed but ignored it. When they passed into the nicer part of town, lawns got greener, fences taller, eyes sharper. And then he saw it. The house from the news. A red brick wall. Tall gate. Lights glowing through rain-streaked windows. He stepped to the call box, pressed the button. I found her. Ava. The speaker clicked off. Then the gate opened, slowly, cautiously. A man and woman ran to the door. Malik dropped to one knee and let Ava down. She wobbled, turned toward the voices. Daddy? They collapsed around her, crying, shaking. Malik stepped back. No name given, no story told. Just a boy in the rain, turning away. The mansion door closed behind Ava like a soft exhale, like the world had finally stopped spinning for her. Malik stood outside for just a breath longer, watching the family reunite in the warm yellow glow of the porch light. He didn't say a word, didn't wait for thanks. He just turned around and walked back into the rain. His legs shook, his breath came hard, but something in his chest felt lighter. Not because he was dry or warm, he was neither, but because she was safe. That was enough. He found shelter under a bus stop awning 5 blocks away, sat on the wet concrete, back to the plexiglass wall, hoodie clinging to his ribs like wet paper. He coughed, harder than before, but he didn't care. He thought of Ava's face as she whispered, Daddy, of the way her arms wrapped around his neck for those miles like he was her anchor. That would stay with him longer than the cold ever could. What he didn't know was this. Inside the house, chaos had turned to quiet. Ava was wrapped in blankets, her parents shaken. Her father, Nathan Carulli, stepped into the hallway, gripping his phone. He's just a boy, he said. Black, 16 maybe, walked her home in the rain and disappeared. Security footage caught a blurry image. Within hours, the clip hit social media. The caption read, Unknown teen walks 10 miles to return blind girl home, then vanishes. It would go viral before the sun rose again. By morning, the world had changed. Not for Malik. He was still curled behind a convenience store, arms wrapped tight around his chest, dreaming of dry places. But the internet had found him, or rather the idea of him, that blurry image from the gate of a soaked teenager stepping back into the night had been reposted nearly 50,000 times. No one knew his name, but everyone wanted to. Comments poured in. Find him. Reward him. This is the kind of person we need. But Malik didn't have a phone. No way to see his own name trending. He just knew he was hungry again. Wet, tired, alone. Or so he thought. That's when a shadow fell over him near the dumpsters. He looked up, expecting a cop. But it wasn't. A tall man in a clean coat stood there. Not angry, not harsh. You walked her home, the man said. It was Ava's father. She told me. Malik said nothing. You gave her your only food. Malik nodded, uncertain. Coat pulled out a thermos. Tea, he said. Thought you might need it. Malik took it, hands trembling. Nathan didn't ask many questions, just sat there beside Malik, silent. Let the kid sip his tea, feel something warm in his chest again. She's gonna need time, Nathan finally said, but she's okay now. Because of you. Malik looked down. I wasn't trying to be a hero, he muttered. Nathan nodded. That's why you are. He stood and offered his hand. Come with me. You don't belong out here. Malik stared at the hand for a long time, then slowly reached up and took it. Weeks later, the world had moved on, as it always does. But in a quiet kitchen on the west side of town, Ava poured orange juice and spilled it, like she always did. Across from her sat Malik, clean shirt, new shoes, school bag at his feet. Her brother now, not by blood, but by something deeper. And when someone finally told him, you belong here, this time, he believed it.